If you're brand new to catechumenate ministry and liturgical coordination, you might be freaking out when you have to plan your first ritual for the catechumenate, but we're here to help you out. Hi, my name is Diana McAlintal, and I'm with teaminitiation.com. I remember when I had to plan my first ritual for the catechumenate rites. I had already had some experience with planning liturgies, but there was still a big learning curve because planning the rites takes a little bit of preparation and reading and real detail work. And so I want to share with you some best practices that will help you get started, that will help you feel confident as you learn to prepare your liturgies for the rituals of the catechumenate. So number one thing is you have to have the book. It is just a mandate that you must use the book. There is an official book of all of the ritual text. You don't have to make anything up. In the United States, the ritual text is titled Order of Christian Initiation of Adults. If you're outside of the United States, it will be titled Rite of Christian Initiation of Adults. This one is a study edition, which simply means it's a soft cover edition that is primarily used for study. You wouldn't use this book during a ritual itself. So you can make your notes and highlights and put your sticky notes all over your book to help you study it. But every liturgical book has a specific general structure to it that might be a little confusing at first, but it's really quite simple. The ritual text is always referred to by paragraph numbers. And so if you open up any liturgical text, you'll see every single paragraph has a little number to the left of that paragraph or a section. And so if you are referring to a particular part of the ritual book, you would refer to it by paragraph number, not by page number. That's because every publisher might have a different page size or text size, and so it just makes it easier for everyone to be on the same page when we use paragraph numbers. The beginning of the ritual text will give you a little bit of history of how the ritual came to be put together for your particular country. So in the United States, you'll see all of these different letters and documents that give you a little bit of history. So that's interesting to read, but it's not step number one. The next part after those documents will be something called Christian Initiation General Introduction. Again, an important part of the book to read, but you can skip over it for now. It's simply an introduction to the theology of the sacraments of initiation, of baptism for both infants and adults, for confirmation, and for the Eucharist. Make sure you read, if you have time, read paragraph 2, because that's my favorite paragraph of that entire document. After that document, Christian Initiation General Introduction, you'll see in the United States a section called National Statutes for the Christian Initiation of Adults. This one is important to read if you are in the United States. It's 18 norms that the U.S. bishops have given us to make sure that we are all doing the same thing together as a country, and that we're following the same guidelines and rules together. And so make sure you read those 18 sections. They're very short and will give you some good guidance. Now we get to the heart of this ritual document. And this is something that everyone has, whether you're in the USA or outside of it. And it begins the Order of Christian Initiation of Adults Introduction. This is, in Latin, it's often called the Prenotanda, or introductory notes. And this section, it's 36 paragraphs. It will give you the theology of the initiation process for adults. It will give you the structure, the order of the different time periods for initiation, the different rituals that go within each of those periods. It will give you the job description for the various ministers that need to participate in this initiation of adults. And the number one minister is your assembly. And so there are two paragraphs, paragraphs 9 and 10, that give you the job description for your assembly for each part of the initiation process. Paragraphs 10 and 11 give you the job description and the differences between a sponsor and a godparent. So make sure you read those paragraphs in that section. Starting at paragraph 17, it will give you the schedule. Now, the initiation process takes as long as it needs to take, and it happens all year round. But there is an appropriate time when you might celebrate some of the sacraments. And so it gives you there the normative time for when you might do the various rites. And it gives you some help on when you cannot celebrate those rites during those normative times. And we all experienced that during the pandemic. The last part of this prenatanda are adaptations, and it gives you the principles for how to know what you can adapt and who can adapt those different things within the rites. Now, once you get through those first 36 paragraphs, you begin looking at each of the phases or periods, so pre-catechumenate, catechumenate, period of purification and enlightenment, and then mystagogy. So all of these 4 periods, and within those 4 periods, the various rites that lead a person into the next period, or the rites that take place within each period. So this is really the biggest part of the book itself. What you want to know as you are reading through this section where you're looking at each rite is, just like we had a prenatanda for the entire process itself, each ritual will have a prenatanda, a few paragraphs before each of the rituals that give you the theology, that give you the ministers, that give you specific things that you want to know about that ritual. So if you're going to prepare, for example, the rite for entrance into the catechumenate, make sure that you read the prenatanda. Don't just go directly to the beginning of the rite itself, because then you've skipped over some really, really important information that will help you make some good choices. Now, in each ritual, there is a specific thing that you will want to know. You have usually it's in a black color text, the prayers or the text that need to be said during the ritual. But in between each of those prayers, you'll have oftentimes stage instructions or directions, or in Latin we call them rubrics, which is simply the word for the color red, because in liturgical texts they're often written in red ink. And so you'll notice that here we have instructions for what is about to happen, and then that's followed by the text itself of the prayer by the presider or whoever is doing that part of the ministry. And so make sure you read the rubrics and read them carefully. They are detail laden, but they will help you understand better what is happening, who is doing it, why they are doing it, and what needs to take place in that particular part of the rite. One other thing you want to know is that when you see brackets, so lines that have little hashtag markings here that bracket off a section, brackets typically mean that part is optional. Now, we want to be careful. Optional doesn't mean, oh, just skip it automatically. It means you want to read it, and understand why you would want to include that bracketed portion and why you might omit it. So for your particular situation, you'll want to know when to use those bracketed sections and when to skip it. Just don't automatically skip it, right? So then you want to read it. And then each part might have different options, and those are often labeled option A, B, C, various things like that. So one important option that you'll want to know, not only during the rite for entrance, but throughout the entire catechumenate, is at paragraph 67. This is the dismissal of catechumens. And here at paragraph 67, it gives us 4 different options, option A, B, C, and D. And so option A and B is for when you are going to dismiss catechumens, and that would take place at every Eucharist where catechumens are present. And it gives you 2 different texts that you can use, that the presider can use to ritually dismiss your catechumens from the assembly. Now, option C is for when you cannot dismiss them. And so this is good to know, because oftentimes, for very good reasons, you might not be able to dismiss a catechumen. You want to know that there is an option for that, and there are words that your presider can say to at least acknowledge the presence of the catechumen and invite them to stay in the assembly for that Eucharist, even though they cannot yet share fully in the Eucharist. And then, so these options are really important because it opens up so many good things for us, but you won't know that unless you have read the text. So get the text, read the prenitandas, read the rubrics and the options. Know what is optional and what you might want to omit or include, and know that there's so many ways to adapt this book. It's not just let's open it up and do what it says. It really invites each of us to embrace it, to know it, to study it, so that we can prepare the best liturgies possible, not just for our seekers, but for our entire assemblies. Hopefully that's given you some good ideas and has made this less daunting if you're doing it for the first time. Come over to teaminitiation.com for even more resources to help you plan your liturgies, prepare your catechumens, and walk alongside them in this beautiful ministry that we share together. My name is Diana McAlintal. Thanks so much for watching.